It's Melbourne Cup 2012 Calcutta night at the Birchip Hotel. We've come to Melbourne, we've found the best we can get. We've got Mick Sharkie from theshark.com.au. You can see him on TVN's Get On and Racing Review. He knows what's going on in all the stables. He's here now to give us the best mail for the big day. Mick, what do you got for us?
G'day Des and everyone there, all the punters at the Calcutta. Hope you're having a good night, and hopefully you find the right horse in the Calcutta, because it's a really open race this year. We don't have a standout. I think any one of about 10 or 12 horses could probably win the race. So that gives you a really good chance tonight if you want to have a punt, I guess, on one of these horses and go for the big cash at the Calcutta. So what I thought I'd do is take you through 12 horses that I think could win the race. The final field's not out yet, so we're doing it early. A horse like Briganton, who's got a terrific chance, may sneak into the field, and watch the Lexus as well, because we'll get the winner leapfrogging into the race. But let's go through 12 horses that we know are going to be in the field, and I'll give you a couple of thoughts about them. It might help you shape how you play the night tonight. We'll start at the top with American. He won the race in 2010. He beat So You Think and My Lucky Day. Class animal, really good stayer, the best 2-mile handicapper in the world, you'd probably say. He hasn't won for a couple of years, which is a bit of a worry, but his Caulfield Cup run was huge. And Damien Oliver gets on, and that French bloke Mosse, he gets off. So he won't be going via the car park in this race. He'll get a better run, and he's going to give you a great run for your money if you happen to pick him up in the Calcutta. Dunaden, last year's Melbourne Cup winner, won the Caulfield Cup this year. He's a fairy tale story. He was bought to go and race on an ice track in St. Moritz. Now, you basically go and run there and then you die. The horses don't come back from that track. He missed the run with an injury. He's turned up in Australia, won a Melbourne Cup, won a Caulfield Cup, won a Geelong Cup. It's a great story, and you wouldn't say that he couldn't win this race. He's a terrific galloper. He's a winner, and that's all important when you get to these really good races. Red Cadeau, beaten a pimple last year by Dunaden. I know there were a lot of punters that were on at 40 to 1 last year, Des, and they were spewing that he got rolled. It was a terrific run. He's going to go just as close this year, I think. His track work's been fantastic at Werribee. I've been out there and seen him a few times. He looks great. His form's better this year, which is important because he's going to have to carry a little bit more weight, but he's going to be in this up to his ears. And if you like Dunaden, you have to like Red Cadeau. He's going just as well as last year. Ethiopia is one of few Australian chances in the race, I believe. He's really reminds me of a horse like Efficient when he won the Melbourne Cup. Efficient had won the Derby in Melbourne. He'd come back through the weight for age races, run the Cox Plate and went okay. Ethiopia's done the same thing. He won the Sydney Derby, come through weight for age races, except his Cox Plate run was really, really good. He's an improving horse, and I don't think anybody knows how good he is. So if you want to just spruik one around that $15 or $16 mark and just take the punt that he could be something special, I think Ethiopia is the horse for you. Cavalryman, Godolphin, they come every year. We see them out here. Evidently, they'll have something at 6 or 7 year old that people just put the pen through straight away. But those horses often run a really good race, and Cavalryman fits that profile. As a 3-year-old in France, he was a terrific horse. He was one of the best 3-year-olds. He ran into See the Stars, who was an unbeaten superstar in Europe that year. After that, he went backpacking, I guess you'd say. He went around Europe, running everywhere from Turkey, Germany, Italy. Wherever there was a Group 1 that he could win, he was there and trying hard. He's lost form a little bit last year. He's picked it up again this year. Frankie Dettori has his last ride for Godolphin in this race on Cavalryman. Might be another fairy tale story there. Might be a horse that runs a cheeky race. Mount Athos. Now, this horse has been one of the favourites all the way through. He's been the Cup favourite since his Geoffrey Freer Stakes win in England. Luca Kamani trains him. We've seen Luca go close twice, once with Bauer and once with Purple Moon. Narrow defeats on both occasions, but he thinks Mount Athos is far superior to those two horses. You look at the form guide, and he's had 3 wins from 3 starts this season in England. Each of those runs has been spaced, and I think that's the key to this horse. He's fresh, he's well, and on his work, he's a massive chance in this. If you want to back a European that you haven't seen, and there are a few in this race that we wouldn't have seen by race time, I think Mount Athos is probably the best of them. My Lucky Day, we mentioned him before. He was placed behind American a couple of years ago. He's nearly died twice. He had pneumonia, he had a tendon injury that got infected. He was off the cards. Out of all the form books for a long time, you thought this horse would never come back. He's back. His Geelong Cup run was fantastic when he got a long way back off the speed in a slowly run race. He was strong to the line. I think the Malucky Day that we saw 2 years ago was just about ready to emerge again. He's the second of the Australian horses that I think has a terrific chance. Moraine, imported galloper from Ireland. Lloyd Williams owns him. A month ago, it looked like Lloyd would have about 4 or 5 runners in this race. Slowly, they've been dropping like flies with injury and other things that can happen to a racehorse. But Moraine seems to be staying strong. He comes through a really good run in the Hillsmith Stakes and then the Craven Stakes in Sydney. He's got his foot on the till. He's going well. He was one of the favoured runners last year, but was scratched on race morning. Maybe that 12-month wait is going to pay off for Lloyd Williams and Moraine. My Quest for Peace, another Luca Kamani trained galloper. Terrific run in the Caulfield Cup. He sat behind the speed, popped out, darted up, and then just hit the wall and stayed on strongly to the line. I think that's the key for this horse. 3,200 metres won't be a problem for him. And if you like that Kamani line, but you want to back something that you've seen, My Quest for Peace is probably a good option. And again, you're going to get around 18, 19, 20 to 1 because people will look at that Caulfield Cup run and say he wasn't good enough. Not sure he wasn't good enough. I think he might just be looking for further. He'll get it in the Melbourne Cup. Fiorente, now Gay Waterhouse. She's got Glencadam Gold, hot favourite in the Caulfield Cup, ran nearer last than first. Fiorente, she's gone and bought it specifically from England to run in this race. Bit of a query for mine whether he'll get the distance. To date, he's only run up to 2,400 metres, obviously a lot further this time. But his track work's been very good since he's arrived. He's a beautiful looking horse. He's very happy and healthy in Melbourne. So Gay Waterhouse, she's had a dog of a spring so far, you could say. Maybe Fiorente, this horse that she's bought in at the 11th hour, might be the one to pick things up. Last horse I think we need to talk about is Galileo's Choice. Dermot Weld's won it twice before. Won with Vintage Crop. He won with Media Puzzle. Vinnie Rose run placings in the race. If anyone in Europe has got an idea about what you need to win the Melbourne Cup, it's Dermot Weld. Now, he earmarked this horse about 6 months ago for the race. You look at his form and you'll see hurdle races and you'll see some lower grade Irish staying races. Don't worry about that. Horses in Ireland can mix form on the flat and the jumps. It's happened before and they've come out here and run really well. Don't be put off by that. The horse has been in Melbourne in the first shipment, so those horses that ran in the Caulfield Cup, he came in with those. He's another one that's best kept fresh. So he's nice and easy, cruising along out there at Werribee. He's a happy boy. He's overcome any travel issues at the start. Gee, at 20 to 1 or around that mark, he's going to give you a great each-way run for your money. You can never knock off those canny Irishmen, Des. They know what to do out here.
We certainly opened the door for the internationals a number of years ago, and I think, you know, if anyone can, you're right. You're on the money with a bloke like Dermot Weld. So we've got a few Irishmen up in Birchip, so no doubt they'll be right behind him.
Well, the Irish money, funnily enough, I was talking to a bookmaker earlier on, and he said, Galileo's Choice, we don't know what to do with him. The money hasn't arrived yet. And I said, well, the Irish haven't arrived yet. When Dermot flies in with the suitcases, he doesn't stay for long, so there's not many clothes in those suitcases. It's full of cash, and they unleash. So don't worry about that. Galileo's Choice will be backed on race day.
So any in the low and the weights there, Mick, that are any chance of representing this race well?
Probably Braganton is a horse that I'd look at lower down in the weights, but he's going to rely on horses dropping out of the race from now, doing this on a Thursday, towards Cup Day. If he gets into the race, he's a massive chance. He's got a light weight and he's a really good French stayer. We saw him in the Geelong Cup when nothing went right. I think he's a lightweight chance. Gatewood, which won the Geelong Cup, he's another lighter weighted horse. He's running in the Lexus on Saturday, so keep a close eye on that race because if he wins, he gets the golden ticket straight into the race. Looking at that Lexus for another, I guess, leapfrog sort of horse, Exceptional is one that could jump into the race and run really well. They've tried just about every qualifying race they've got to get her into this field. She hasn't been able to make it to date, but she's back at Flemington. Keep a close eye on her on Saturday because if she gets into the Melbourne Cup, she might be that sneaky, seasoned mare ready to pounce.
Well, that's a good mail. Let's get into the auction.